Hi everybody and welcome to the weekly wrap for June 27th, 2020. I'm Maryann Simson from Apex Media.
And I'm Seth Miller from PaxX.aero.
This week is pretty special because it's our 10th edition of the weekly wrap. Hooray! Yay! So thanks to everybody who's been watching and giving us feedback on the show, liking and sharing the videos. We really appreciate that. And if you're watching now and you haven't subscribed to the Apex YouTube channel yet, please do, so you don't miss any future episodes of the weekly wrap or any other great aviation content. So moving along, Seth, we're seeing some optimism in the industry this week, aren't we?
Yeah, we really are, and it's super refreshing, super nice to see the sort of innovation happening in the industry. Air Canada introduced a new cabin configuration on its A330s this week, flying from Montreal to Vancouver for its inaugural. Looks super swanky in both business class and economy. And not exotic, not amazing, but big screens on the seat backs, some really nice, comfortable-looking seats up front. I think it's going to be a nice ride for a lot of people.
Yeah, I think Air Canada cabins just have a really slick look to them. Even the livery, and even the UX when you go into their IFE or on their website, which we will talk about again later. But yeah, I think they've got the design down pat.
Yeah, I really enjoy that. And, you mentioned IFE there. We've actually seen a couple big news announcements in the IFE space this week. Three different vendors, two of which partnered up and one's on its own, showing some real innovation coming out in the market.
Yeah, that's right. So first of all, we saw a streaming IFE specialist and in-flight sales giant Retail inMotion partner with Bluebox Aviation, who are the purveyors of the WOW IFE system, which sort of incorporates either an installed or a portable battery-operated sort of near-fi IFE solution. And they are teaming up to sort of combine their different expertise and customer base to sort of create a touchless in-flight retail experience.
Yeah, it's really interesting to me, the way they can combine the Bluebox sort of front end and user interface with the Retail inMotion back end. Retail inMotion powers like $1 billion in ancillary sales a year, so there's a huge market there. And Bluebox is sort of enabling the idea of a touchless interaction on that. So you don't have to be handing your credit card to the flight attendant, you type it in yourself. They just show up with your snacks or your goods or whatever you've bought. And David Brown from Bluebox was explaining to me, he says, we've always had our own integrated sales solution, but the airlines really want to be able to scale up and work with their logistics, their inventory management, all of those things. And that's where the Retail inMotion specialty is. And the modular design of those products lets them sort of integrate together in a way that's going to prove really valuable probably to the companies, the passengers, and the airlines.
I think it looks like a great tie-up. You've got Retail inMotion, which is based in Dublin, but it's also a wholly owned subsidiary of the LSG group. So if you start thinking about, all the sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? The resources that the LSG group has got, customer base again. And then you've got Bluebox, which is based in Edinburgh. So it's a great UK union with tentacles reaching globally. And it sounds like they're going to do some really cool things in that partnership.
Also this week we had Burrana launch its new IFE platform called Rise. And it's targeting the single aisle market. And it's sort of a rebuild from the ground up of a scalable solution that they're hoping to see installed on thousands of airplanes going forward.
Yeah, there was a really cool online launch this week. Of course, they weren't able to do that in person, but Seth and I were both part of the launch, and it's really interesting. It's great to finally see what Burrana has done with the assets from Digicore and the old Collins IFE business, and what they've integrated and what they've decided to keep and what they've decided to focus on, and some of the product lines that they've decided not to incorporate as part of the Rise platform.
Yeah, and so now we're lucky to be joined by David Pook, who's the Vice President of Marketing and Sales Support, to talk about a little bit about what Rise is and how it's going to play out in the industry.
Hi, David. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Maryann and Seth. Great to see both of you again.
Can you give us an overview of Rise and the three different layers of the solution that you described on Monday in the launch?
Yes, Rise is a new approach to an IFE platform that allows multiple layers of functionality to be mixed and matched as needed by the airline and the aircraft mission. So the first layer is our 48-volt DC power distribution, and it provides in-seat power, both AC and USB. Then we can add on the server and the crew management units, which enables our 13-inch 4K overhead video. Then we can add by adding wireless access points, providing wireless IFE functionality, as well as integration with connectivity. And then lastly, we can layer on a seatback IFE, which could be added on a class-by-class basis as needed.
Yeah, I know you intended to launch the product at AIX this year in Hamburg, and obviously that didn't happen. How has that affected the way that you're bringing Rise to market, and what's your launch strategy in the current environment?
Yes, it was unfortunate that we didn't get a chance to launch Rise at Aircraft Interiors. We had previously provided some lead-ins indicating we were launching something new there, and we felt we needed to proceed with that launch and not wait until Apex, as we believe the solutions we are offering really help the airlines deliver value to their passengers with reduced investment, reduced operational costs, and shorter lead times. The virtual launch today was step one. We are also in the process of offering Rise to our customers, including our existing PAVES installation base as an upgrade path. Once travel restrictions relax, we can plan to visit our customers and provide face-to-face demonstrations.
Right. We really liked the web-based GUI configuration options and some of the partner integration options that you outlined in the launch. Can you describe those a little bit for us now?
We want to enable airlines to add, modify, and remove value-added applications dynamically without requiring a costly change order, long lead times, and a full system test. So we are pre-integrating our own applications like surveys and shopping, as well as third-party apps like FlightPath 3D, Signal Lamp's Ad Republic engine, so that these can be enabled immediately when the airlines are ready to deploy them or disabled if they are no longer needed. Changes are deployed through a simple database update. Likewise, the GUI configuration tool gives airlines the ability to easily reskin or rearrange their GUI buttons as often as they wish without software development or a full rack test, using an easy-to-use tool. These updates are simply delivered as content.
And obviously there's a lot of people wondering what the market's going to look like currently and moving forward. How are you seeing that today in the single aisle market, especially relative to sort of in-seat versus streaming IFE?
Wireless IFE is still the predominant need for single aisle aircraft, for sure. And with wireless, it's really imperative that the airline provides in-seat power so that users are able to maximize the use of the system throughout the flight without worrying about running out of power on their device for their arrival. In-seat video on single aisle is still a bit niche, limited to those airlines who see it as a differentiator, but we are expecting that with the 737 MAX and the A321XLR aircraft flying longer and more international missions, the demand for in-seat video on these aircraft will certainly increase over time, since they will be competing on routes typically served by wide bodies.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I am actually excited to see what a new player can do, especially targeting just the single aisle market. I think that we've seen a similar approach in the in-flight connectivity space where Global Eagle has said it's really only going after the single aisle, not the twin aisles. And there is a different type of demand, a different set of sort of parameters that they work under. So it'll be really interesting to see how they pull that off.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be watching this space closely. Coming back to Air Canada now, we did mention them earlier in the show. They had an announcement on Monday that they're going to be making their IFE content library available to their Aeroplan members at home. So basically via a streaming service, and they're going to open that whole library up to those passengers for 1 month through to July 22nd.
Yeah, and so this is a really interesting loyalty play to me in a lot of ways because it is tied to the Aeroplan program, and Air Canada is sort of relaunching Aeroplan over this summer. They pushed it back a little bit to later in the year, but they're doing a lot of work to drive the value out of that loyalty program, and this is sort of just another example of trying to keep it top of mind, keep it in people's thoughts while they're not necessarily traveling. And then on top of that, the content selection is great. You were talking about some of the sort of the broad range of providers they have in there.
Yeah, so I fly with Air Canada quite a bit, and their content is very carefully curated. They really pay a lot of attention to who their passengers are, and also trying to share something about Canada with them. So there is a lot of content coming from native content producers, Native American content producers. There's the Real Asian Film Festival. There's some content from there. There's a lot of Francophone content for the French speakers. And then also because it's Pride Month, and because we celebrate Pride every month, there's a lot of LGBTQ content in there as well. So it should be good.
Yeah, and added bonus, it's closed caption for accessibility, which is really nice to see airlines focusing on, given that the industry has been derelict on that front.
All right, Seth, you want to talk about loyalty, don't you?
I do want to keep talking about loyalty. I could do that all day. JetBlue this week introduced a cash and points redemption option for its TrueBlue members, and basically starting at just 500 points now, the members can redeem a portion of the airfare rather than the whole ticket using the points. And it's a revenue-based program, so in a lot of ways you'd think, oh gosh, that makes sense. It should be easy to make the points and the cash interchangeable. But obviously there's still integration challenges and things like that to get it done. So kudos to the JetBlue team for pulling that off. I will say it's also really neat. They have built in sort of a slider option for pick how many points you want to spend versus how much cash, and you can sort of run it back and forth and see what your ticket is really going to cost, which is a nice sort of UI way to approach that.
Well, that is pretty neat, as you say. I have to agree with you on that, Seth. As a final thought, actually two things for the final thought this week. First of all, we want to say congratulations to ThinKom Solutions, or makers of electronically steered antennas for the industry. Seth knows a lot more about this particular part of the industry than I do, but they've achieved some milestones and they wanted to talk about it this week.
Yeah, the antenna in question is the KU3030, they call it, and it's more broadly known in the industry probably as the GoGo 2KU antenna. But they're celebrating 1,550 installed aircraft across 16 airlines and 17 million total flight hours. So some big numbers there, super high uptime rates, super great performance, and it's a solution that when integrated on airplanes has received very, very positive reviews from airlines and passengers alike. It's a great offering, and it keeps on running.
All right, awesome. And then finally, we'd like to leave you with a little video. We all like to dance, and the the staff of WestJet are no different. They decided to do a bit of a bizarre flash mob video, which was posted this week by the airline. But I guess why not? Right, Seth?
Hey, got to do something in the empty terminal, right?
All right. Well, thanks for watching, everyone. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Follow myself and Seth on social media. And we'll see you all next time. Take care.
Bye-bye.